Hello, Eagles. Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for coming back with us. It seems like you've been with us all week for events. So today is Wonder Woman Wednesday, and we are here to celebrate Women's History Month. Also with me today, we have Mr. Joseph, who is also the rec specialist at the Northeast the Beast. He's going to be introducing our guest speaker today. And so this event is brought together by Recreational Sports and Student Life. We wanted to highlight great women in the city of Houston. And Mr. Joe was actually able to do that for us. So, Joseph, I'm going to pass it off to you to introduce and talk to our Eagles.
Thank you, Ashley. Good afternoon, Eagles. We are proud to bring. Can y'all hear me? Everybody good? Y'all can hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
All right, good. We are proud to bring on somebody I've gotten to know over the past couple of months. Great lady in the community, great lady at the college facility. With us, Miss Tai Dillard, associate head coach at University of Houston women's basketball, and a Longhorn alumni. She played professional basketball as well as college basketball at University of Texas. So we are glad she could come speak to our students today. So Coach Dillard, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you guys for having me today. March is a pretty busy and exciting month for basketball coaches. We just finished our season a couple days ago with a big win against Arizona State. So now we're going into off season. Just looking forward to building what we built this year. But I'm so excited to be here. Just to give you guys a little background about myself. I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. Played at Sam Houston High School, went on to play college ball at the University of Texas, playing in the Final Four my senior year against UConn. UConn's always been UConn. And then after graduating, I had the opportunity to play in the WNBA for the San Antonio Silver Stars for 3 years. And so it was a blessing to be able to play at home professionally within the WNBA. And then after the WNBA, I went overseas for 1 year and played overseas in Israel, which was a great experience. I always tell my girls that are looking to go overseas, if there's any countries you should go play, it's Israel. It's very Americanized over there, and it was a good playing experience. But after that, I felt I was ready to start coaching, and then a coaching opportunity presented itself at my high school alma mater. So I coached there for 2 years, and then started coaching at UTSA in San Antonio. That was my first collegiate stop as a basketball coach. And I really think my coaching at the high school is what really helped me kind of navigate through coaching at the collegiate level. I run into a lot of athletes that want to go straight into college coaching. And, I tell young students and young coaches, just make sure you go through the steps. You don't want to just start at point A and just jump all the way to point Z. There's definitely steps to take that helps you prepare for each stop that you have in this coaching world. But been coaching at the collegiate level for, I think this is my 13th or 14th year. And each spot has been a tremendous learning lesson at each spot. And again, I've been able to work at different, areas in the country. I've been in San Antonio, I've been in Los Angeles at USC, been in small town, Oxford, Mississippi, coaching at Ole Miss. Now I'm back home in Texas, in Houston. So each stop has definitely helped me grow in my profession, and it's helped me be able to network and build my network base as far as coaches, trainers, and anyone that's in this coaching profession. I think the biggest thing that I like to tell younger coaches is to not be afraid to make that jump. When I was at UTSA, it was, I was comfortable. I was at home. We had a good thing going, and it was just comfortable. So I don't think I would have been able to grow in my profession had I not made that jump and, left and went to USC after UTSA. And like I said, that's where I was able to grow and build my network base. And from there, just kind of been growing in the profession and just navigating my way through it. And it's been a good experience. And the biggest thing is just, it takes a lot of hard work. You've got to keep making yourself better, making sure you're going to different networking events or conventions and workshops, and just making yourself better and learning from other coaches, learning from other people, whatever profession you choose. Make sure you've got people you can learn from, and as well as teach. You know, anything you learn, make sure you're trying to teach it to those that are under you as well. But I don't know if anyone has questions. You know, throughout the season, you learn so much about yourself. Since I've been in Houston, I've gotten married and have a child, so that's also kind of changed my approach to coaching, just because, you know, I have to keep a little bit of a balance. I think that's important in this profession as well, is to make sure you have a balance in any profession. Just making sure you have a balance. That way, you know, you're your best you. If you're teetering one way or the other, you're not really being your best you. So in working with the girls, especially, you know, our team, we have mostly African-American young ladies on our team. So the biggest thing, you know, we stress to them is making sure you are, you know, pushing yourself to be better. You know, we don't accept mediocrity. You've got to make sure that you push yourself to be a better player, better student, a better person, better friend, better daughter. So that's the one thing we stress to the girls. We do a lot of community service with them that helps keep them balanced as well. But, you know, it's just all about making sure when they come in at 18, they graduate at 22, 23 as, you know, productive citizens. And, you know, you're not able to do that just by teaching basketball. You've got to teach a lot of life lessons, you know, not always holding their hand in situations and letting them grow from situations, but always being there to catch them when you need them. It's all about growth. So let me see, we got a question here. It says, how do you keep everyone motivated even when there are losses, not only in the game of basketball, but life? I think the one thing I'd like to tell a lot of players, and it goes with basketball and life, is there's always that next play. You know, you're gonna have bad situations, but there's a next play. You know, God is gonna put you in that next position to make, you know, a better decision or to push you forward in whichever direction you need to go. So I always say next play, next play. When something's not going the right way, I see where it went wrong, and I'm just like, okay, next play, even in life situations. So the biggest motivational factor is that there's another chance, there's another opportunity to either right that wrong or make something positive out of a negative. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, I know they said I'm a pioneer. I don't know. I don't think of myself as a pioneer. It's a lot of people that I've looked up to while playing and while coaching that I, you know, take things from and learn from. I try to help as many people under me as I can. But, you know, this game of basketball has been able to take, you know, me across the country, across the world. And so I'm thankful and blessed for it. And but I know that, you know, life isn't just about basketball. I also preach that using this game to position yourself towards the life that you want. You know, the girls come in, they have scholarships, but, you know, I tell them you're not just a basketball player. Make sure you're using this scholarship. And when you're in classes, you're making friends outside of the team. You know, you've got different circles of friends, whatever career path you choose, and you're in those classes, make sure you're staying in touch with people within those classes as well. We tell them to, you know, try to join organizations on campus so that they have a well-rounded college experience. You know, I've seen where kids can just solely focus on basketball and, you know, they get burnt out. So if you're able to keep it balanced and, you know, provide a well-balanced college life, you know, there's a lot of success stories with that. So let me see, we have a question. I'm 45 and played basketball as a kid. Are there any adult beginner teams that we can join? You know, I think I want to say like the YMCAs and some of the rec centers have some leagues, like the 30 and over leagues or the 40 and over leagues. I haven't played any. Actually, funny story, I play with the girls in practice, and I still have my 20-year-old heart, but I'm in a 40-year-old body, and I need to keep telling myself that. So I actually was practicing with them last week, and I was a little female Steph Curry out there, and I think I messed my knee up. My knee's been hurting the last couple of days, so I need to know my age and not think that I'm a 20-year-old still. But I do think there's some recs around the city and the YMCA's that may have some 30 and over and 40 and over leagues. So I don't know any specifically, but I think there are some. Let's see. Why do you think there is less support for women's sports? For example, the issue with NCAA treatment of women's teams during the March Madness. Yeah, this situation that they had down in San Antonio for the women's tournament, it was it was kind of mind-boggling that that situation happened. I think the bottom line probably is, the financial factor. Men's sports, men's basketball brings in a lot of money during this period. And I think the situation this year, because of having to cut the season last year and not have the NCAA tournament, I think, all of the thought might have been pushing for the men's team, the men's program or the men's tournament. But, to not put forth 100% effort in preparation for the women's tournament, it was inexcusable. And I know the leadership is they're taking up for that and trying to right that wrong. So, you just kind of have to see where it goes from there. But it was sad to see this year. But I'm sure that mistake won't happen ever again. What do you think we should do as a sports professional to encourage our female students to participate in sports? Well, the biggest thing is to make the sports fun for them. I think, in this day and age, because everyone is so competitive, and, as a coach, I see a lot of the push is always you're playing for a scholarship. And I mean, you are, but you got to remember you started playing the sport because you love the sport. You can tell on the court a lot of times which kids really love playing the sport and which kids are playing because they're kind of forced to play. So the biggest thing is just to make it fun for them first. And, if they don't want to play, maybe they'll come back around to it, but, you don't want to force it on them. Yeah, I just make it fun for them, really. That has to be the foundation of why a person is playing a sport. It's because it's fun. They're able to be around friends. But I do understand that it gets to a certain point when, it does become more of a, not business, but we do know what our intention is while playing. High school, junior, senior year, those are the years that scholarships are being offered. So yeah, you need to be definitely serious at that point. But, when they're in middle school, going into middle school, you just want to make sure it's fun for them so that they're not burnt out later in their career.
I think we missed one from Jared. It says, when recruiting, what is it that you tell the players to try to get them to commit to play for your program?
Well, recruiting is all about relationship. A lot of times when we're recruiting a kid, we'll recruit them for at least 2 years. Sometimes when it is a quick recruiting process, you can kind of show them, the depth chart and the style of play, I guess the visions for them as a player, the visions for the program, what academics are provided for them. But typically you've built up a really good relationship with the recruit that they truly feel like you have their best interest, you feel very family oriented with them. And then they feel comfortable, the parents and the child, the athlete feels comfortable, wanting to attend that university and play the 4 years and just know that, it's not just a 4-year commitment, with that program, once you graduate, you're an alum. So, you're there for that university, the rest of your life because you're an alum. But, for those quick when it's a quick recruiting process, especially, with like transfers and, recruiting in the summertime, it's based more so on, if the style of play fits them, if we have what they offer academically, if they feel comfortable with the players, the team, and all that. So I've always thought that men play college ball thinking they can make it to the NBA, whereas women play for the love. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think because we as women know that basketball will not be won't be our livelihood. Like, we're not relying on basketball for our livelihood. We know that we have to prepare for life after basketball, whether that be right after college or whether that be, a few years after college. Whereas men, it's a little bit more opportunity, I guess, for them. And not so much even in the NBA, but, there's so many G leagues and D leagues and overseas. But, I think the thought process always has to be for any players, make sure you're preparing for life after basketball, because you don't want to be that athlete that doesn't have anything lined up and you're, just taking odd jobs because you don't have anything lined up for life after basketball or any sport. Let's see. What were some of the challenges you faced this season coaching during the pandemic? What do you think next season will be regarding COVID? Ooh, this was a heck of a year. Not just for me as a coach, but also as, a parent. I think personally, some of the as a coach, you feel kind of bad for the student athletes because in essence, we were in this bubble. They would either be in the dorms or in the gym because we tested at least 3 times a week. So, we had to make sure that, you're not going to be able to, we had to tell them you can't really hang out with your friends like you want to. In some instances, you can't really go home like you really want to just because of the COVID situation. So we tried to do a lot of Zooming sessions just to, see each other's face, because there was a period where we were not allowed on campus. So we did a lot of Zooming just to, make sure we're seeing each other's faces and getting that interaction in that aspect. But, oh man, there were periods. Luckily, we didn't have too many pauses once the season started. We had one pause the first week of practice, which definitely caught us off guard. And we didn't panic or anything, but, we knew, the phrase, it is what it is. It was something we were gonna have to deal with. So, I think just trying to keep the girls just mentally tough and staying focused and not really being down and out about not being able to do the typical college things, especially for the freshmen that came in. I really felt for our freshmen, just because they missed out on a lot of things during their senior year with graduation and proms, and then to come in and not really have your typical summer introduction to college athletics. I felt for them, but they took it in stride. I really have to give my hats off to them, because they were really disciplined about, trying to stay in their bubble. I think the biggest challenge was when games would have to get canceled or postponed. And because, NCAA kind of set a criteria of what you had to have to qualify for the tournament this year. There were situations and times where you're kind of scrounging around trying to find a game just so that you're able to fit that criteria. So that was a little challenging in some aspects. I think next season, and I know me personally, having to homeschool my son, I'd have to bring him to the gym, homeschool or do schooling with him before practice, bring him into practice and set his desk up, make sure he's doing his Zoom sessions while we're on the court practicing. So mama was tired every day. I felt like a truck hit me every day. I was exhausted. But, it like I said, it was what it was. It was just something we had to deal with, and, not making excuses and just, kind of get it done. When you get to a certain point, it's just like, get it done. Whatever you got to do to get it done, get it done. But next season, I hope next season, at least for the NCAA tournament, that they stick with this neutral site setup that they have. I've been hearing a lot of great feedback about it. As far as coaching and scheduling, I don't think the scheduling will change. They had us sit, pretty spread apart during the games, it was kind of nice sitting that way too. So, maybe they'll keep that in place as well. Um, I I wouldn't be surprised if, everyone has to get the vaccine or something. Testing, I don't think will be as frequent, but I do think we will still have periodic COVID testing. But I kind of just sit back and see what the powers that be decide, because that's kind of what we have to live by. So let's see. Do you think you face more challenges being a woman in basketball compared to your male counterparts? Um, Especially as a coach. I guess the only challenge, because I'm a mother, I think that's the only challenge that I face, is having to really balance, motherhood and coaching. Whereas, men that are coaching, they don't really have to worry about that because they have their wives to do that. But because I'm like such a hands-on mom, there's a lot of balancing I have to do, as far as making sure everything's set with my son and family, and making sure everything's set for my position players and coaching and scouts and all that good stuff. Um, but the game is the game. You're going to coach how you want to coach, and your players are going to respond to you how they respond to you. So I don't look at it too many challenges, between female and male coaches in that aspect. But I do see the challenges as far as those that have families and are mothers, and those that don't.
So let me add to that. Then on the flip side, what are some of the strengths you feel that you gain by being uh, a woman and coaching women's, as opposed to a male coach coaching women's? What are some of the benefits that you think you bring to the table for your players? Being able to do that?
I guess I feel like there's a little bit more of a nurturing aspect, just because, like I said earlier, as a female coach, we know that there is life that will keep moving after the sport is over. So I feel like, as a coaching young women, that's something that we preach every day to them. Whereas I don't know, I could be wrong. Male coaches, they did do a lot of developing in that aspect, but female coaches, we do a lot of on-court development, but as well as pushing them and making sure they're going in a track, towards life, setting themselves up for life after basketball, if you get what I'm saying. I think that has to be in our dialogue and conversations with our girls every day, if not every day, every other day, just to keep them, focused and making sure that they are, maximizing every opportunity that they get, because, they're not, we just can't rely on something being handed to us, once we're done. We still got to be in grind mode even after graduation. Do you have an ultimate goal like coaching in the WNBA? I never really thought of myself coaching in the WNBA. I know people have asked if I'm, ready to be a head coach. I don't have a strong itch to be a head coach yet. I really like supporting the head coach I work for. I really like the aspect of, or the things we get to do as assistant coaches. The head coach, that's a whole different other type of stress. But I like the things we get to do as assistant coaches, especially when you work with a head coach that allows you to do a lot as long as you're doing your job. My head coach that I work for, he's the type that we'll talk about just main objectives for the year, and then he just lets you run with, whatever ideas or however you want to get things done. He lets you run with it. So I like that aspect. And then again, the relationship between players and head coaches is different between the relationship between players and assistant coaches. So, I like the relationships we're able to build. So I don't have that itch. So. Yeah, Lewis Earl said, "Amen." Yeah, the head coach, the chair. When you move over to that first chair, it's a different life, with a lot of different things you have to think about.
So Houston's home. I think, taking a head job, probably have to move somewhere. You're not really, I guess, being a mother, that's something you think about, I'm assuming, huh? Like having to relocate your family. And I know with
Right.
coaching in general, a lot of coaches just move throughout
Yeah.
the country for the next opportunity, and their kids are being raised in different communities. Does that play a factor as well?
That's the thing. And I especially tell younger coaches that a lot, like, right, when you're young, yeah, you're in a position where, you can move around a lot, and it helps you. When you get older, you got some harder decisions to make. I've seen some couples, live on opposite ends of the country because one's coaching in one area and one's coaching in another area. That's pretty tough. But, if I had to make that decision, it would definitely have to be a family decision, just because I wouldn't want to uproot anything my husband has going. My child has you're trying to set a foundation for your children. So it would definitely have to be a family decision. So do you think women breaking barriers and coaching men is a good thing or a bad thing for women's sports? I think it's a great thing. Again, it just goes to show that women are very much invested in the sport as well and very knowledgeable of the sport. And, I've seen a lot of examples. Niele Ivey coached with the Memphis Grizzlies last year. Becky Hammond is with the Spurs, doing a phenomenal job with the Spurs. So I definitely think it's a great thing. I don't want it to get to a point where men are doing it just because, other teams are doing it, but you're picking a female that knows what she's doing, knows what she's talking about, knows the game, the ins and outs, knows how to connect to the players. And I've definitely seen that in a lot of the female coaches that are coaching male sports. So it's a great thing. See, what is a good selling point with females when recruiting players? I think it's with even with male recruits. Again, the style of play, fitting, the success you can have, at that university, in how that team plays, the success we can have as a team, with that individual player. And then, just the biggest thing, and I know it's big with families as well, is, what is life like for them? What will it be like for them after, once they're done playing? So just making sure you're putting them in good positions to maximize an opportunity after basketball ends.
All right. We have any more questions for Coach Dillard? We appreciate your time. Like you said, she said she just ended the season the other day, so we thank you for coming on right now. so
Thank
random.
you for having me. Hopefully I answered all y'all's questions. Sorry, my eye is itching like crazy right now. I hope I answered all y'all's questions. I'm really appreciative of you guys letting me talk with you guys. Just keep working hard. And when you're working with kids, the biggest thing is just making sure they're having fun, and, becoming a well-rounded person. This day and age, a lot of kids are, and not just kids, college kids, they're always on their phones or some type of device trying to stay stimulated with something. It's, a lot, we need more interaction with each other versus some type of device. So, keeping that interaction up, keep building those relationships, and, just having fun with it. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach Dillard.
Thank you guys.
Look, go Cougs. Like,
oh,
guys,
yes, go Cougs. Watch them in this Friday.
To University of HCC. U of H is great. My alma mater. So I was really excited for Coach Dillard to be here today, like over the moon. But Eagles, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. And Coach Dillard, thank you so much for taking out this time. We know that you're tired, it's break, and you need to relax. So thank you so much for scheduling this.
You're good.
Eagles, we have more events coming up during the week for rec sports as well as student life. Make sure you check out Eagle Experience at hccs.presence.io so that way you can stay connected with us and come to our events. So we will see you guys tomorrow at all of the events that we have planned for rec sports and student life. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Coach Dillard. Thank
All
you,
right,
Eagles.
thank you.